adrift on a sailboat. My love is the sea. Yours is the horizon, constant and steady. You said my limbs too tired to float, lifting my lonesome sails. The tide is out, the moon is high, we're sailing.
All right, welcome back to Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander. Today I want to talk to you about why you do what you do. In life, in business, in relationships, in sport, all of it. Why do you push for more? Why do you want to improve? Why do you go about improving in the way that you do? I'm willing to bet that if I were to ask most people why they do what they do, I'm quite sure that they wouldn't have an answer. What is it that drives you to improve or to even want to listen to a podcast like this in general? I'll tell you, one of the things that I believe to be true is the fact that if we're going to continue to evolve humanity, we have to be good stewards of wisdom and knowledge. And so far, I think that's where we fail. We always assume because of our advances in technology that we're so much more advanced in all ways. But truthfully, from what I've studied, we're all fucked up emotionally, spiritually, compared to many other generations, in fact. And I think to properly talk about this subject of motivations, we need to take it way back to ancient cultures. What's interesting is that we tend to look at things like, say, Greek mythology, and we assume that they were primitive or even dumb. Because after all, how could they believe in multiple gods? It almost seems archaic to us now, right? But the truth is that that's an incorrect framing of the situation. In most cultures, they didn't necessarily believe that these were people living in the sky, but rather the gods were representations of the motivations that drive us. Lust, war, love, passion, evil, fame. Yep, pretty sure we are all pushed by these constantly, even today. The fact that they made them look like people is because that's how we relate to things. Like when you take a motivation and you dress it up and make it look like a person, it allows you to label that thing and then to talk about it in a certain way. But the truth is that most of us worship a faceless deity who promises a heaven that we'll never actually taste. Safety, sex, drama, money, fame, validation, comfort, all of these are gods that reside within our subconscious, and each of them demand our obedience. We put our hope for the future in these gods, never realizing that their only plans for us consist of the purgatory that we're already in. Now, if I'm being honest, which I like to think I always am, I'll bet you're serving multiple gods right now. Now, you might not frame it that way. You might not think about it like that. But the truth is that you have deep human needs and your ego has needs. And if you want your life to turn out in a way that you like, you better be damn sure that you know what God is driving at what time. The thing is, without knowing what drives you, you'll continue to misstep. Finding the reason behind what you do is important if you ever want to do anything effectively. A super quick example in the endurance world is a B race. So this is typically a race that you use as part of your training to get ready for an A race. And obviously that's kind of the world I am because I coach endurance athletes. But the A race is like the main race that you're hoping to be in peak shape for. So let's say you just finished up a strength or a power cycle in your training. You might pick a shorter race that's real mountainous so that you can test your climbing ability and judge the success of the last training cycle. Or maybe you want to test new gear or a new way of eating or do a nutrition shakeout, something like that. The point is that if the motivation behind your race is to improve some single aspect, say you've been working on, well then you know not to get down on yourself or beat yourself up when you don't finish as well as you would like to. After all, that wasn't the point in the first place of racing that race. So knowing the motivation behind the race is actually everything. And I wonder how many of us are beating ourselves up when the reality is that we're in our B race. If you don't make your motivations known, you won't know the context behind what you're doing. So not only will you emphasize the wrong things, you'll take a mental beating as you aren't exactly where you want to be. This is also why I think people should really take more time to think about the kind of life they want to create. Because look, if you have a vision for your life, that might become the motivation behind it. Then everything else gets put through the filter of, does this or does this not get me where I want? The other thing this allows you to do is rid yourself of false motivations. Okay, so we're going to use another example here. Let's say that perhaps you want to be independently wealthy for simplicity's sake. So that's not a well-defined goal, I understand that, but you get the idea. You want to be independently wealthy. So taking an internship that doesn't pay at all, but provides tons of experience in what you actually want to do and how you want to make money, that makes a lot more sense than taking a six-figure job with no upward mobility, or limited upward mobility per se. But if you aren't aware of your motivations, however, like most people, you take the job that pays the most because you're serving the god of safety. 5 years later, when you're stuck in the rat race, in debt up to your eyeballs and don't know where it all went wrong, you'll probably never suspect that it came from not knowing your motivations a half a decade ago. But the truth is, that's the reality that life serves up. It can be unforgiving, and if you let the wrong motivation push you to the wrong place, that will be your legacy. It's kind of like, all right, let's get weird. You know the movie Hot Tub Time Machine? One of the main characters, who's kind of a loser, goes back in time and creates Google and a band and sets him and all of his friends up with a new future filled with success and everything they could ever want. And so when they come back from traveling in time, he stayed back in time, he set them up, they come back to this amazing life. And while that movie is hilarious, that's not how this thing works. You and I get one shot. If you want to be wealthy, have a spouse that you actually want to be around, create an epic company, now's the time, man. Create the vision. Flesh out the gods that will lead you astray and execute. We don't get redos. It might make you feel good in a movie, but in reality, you just end up a loser, or you just end up with the wrong life. Make yourself aware of what guides you, and then lastly, see what might be at odds with something else. For example, a lot of the great things in life, certainly I know the things that I'm after, require that I let go of the need for safety. That God will be at odds with my dream, and it will cause me to act in a way that doesn't get me close to the future that I want. Some people's need for validation is so damn high that they don't allow themselves to go after what they want because of the desire to please people. So lately I've been doing some comedy, some stand-up comedy, and let me tell you, that shit's kind of painful. But it made me think of some of the greats. And just imagine the comedian or performer you look up to, just think of someone in your mind. I'm telling you, if they let the need for validation drive them, you'd never know their name. They wouldn't have gotten past the times where they had to bomb on stage. They had to test out new material. They had to do all the things that would cause them to learn the lessons that they needed to learn so they could perform at the level that they are at now. And so look through your life as well as you can with a fine-tooth comb. Figure out the motivation, the gods that are driving you, and figure out if they're driving you in the wrong direction. Figure out what you want ultimately. And then don't give that up for what you might want right now. Or do. Maybe find a hot tub. Maybe it turns into a time machine. Maybe you turn the whole thing around. What do I know? I love you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow on Morning Coffee.
Fake hair, fake nails, always dressed to impress. $10,000 smile, but the cause is suspect. She's looking for Mr. Right, but all he is Mr. Right. Now he said he could entertain her, but now still alive, but she accepts his request. Watching her undress, she nibbles on his neck, running fingers down his chest. There's passion in the air, whiskey in their veins, no concern for names. Once hormones take the reins, a silver-tongued fox again. She's one of a kind for 20 minutes, and the she brings a new frame of mind. And now they're talking about love and the life they're gonna share. He's thinking about exits and the cost of cab fare, saying, hold up a second, girl, that wasn't in the deal. I enjoyed the free taste, I ain't ordering the meal. Ain't trying to be rude, I hope you understand. We can be lovers, I ain't gonna be your man. Da 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 da. Right lines for all the wrong reasons. Mischief in her eyes, she stays steadily teasing. Treason, clearly a train wreck, but his body's vetoing his head's well-deserved objection. There's a question, speculate to her intent, analyzing every single move she made and what they meant. Verdict in, she's a bona fide basket case, but he's always been a sucker for a pretty face. So throwing caution to the wind, he starts moving in. Shorty so eager to sing, demands that they begin well. Hook, line, and sinker, she's the apple of his eye. He offers her the moon while she offers this reply, saying, hold up a second, man, that wasn't in the deal. I enjoyed the free taste, I ain't ordering the meal. Ain't trying to be rude, I hope you understand. We can be lovers, I ain't looking for a man. Da 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 da. To begin confusing passionate thrills, and with matters of heart despite the battle of wills. A catalyst fueled by fear of commitment from a life of bad decisions on behalf of your equipment. Persistent with the seasons, changing endlessly. Stay consistent with the reasoning of blatant honesty. Honestly, dishonesty can only hurt the situation when you actively pursue the act of sex for recreation. A powder keg mixed up with a time bomb. Hopefully we find some common ground to meet upon when time comes to make a break, cause it's a delicate affair. If you get sloppy, then you should be prepared to say, hold up a second, girl, that wasn't in the deal. I enjoyed the free taste, I ain't ordering the meal. Ain't trying to be rude, I hope you understand. We can be lovers, I ain't gonna be your man. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And I said, hold up a second, girl, that wasn't in the deal. I enjoyed the free taste, I ain't ordering the meal. I ain't trying to be rude, and I hope you understand. We can be lovers, I ain't gonna be your man. Da 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 da.